Well, tubes, it's been a long time since I posted. YouTube was nice enough to remind me of that yesterday. So, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit. Well, here's the Jeep, the CJ that we did a restoration on. Well, I guess it's 2 years ago now. Hasn't even moved out of the garage this year. So, yeah, kind of annoyed at myself about that. My son's gonna actually get this out today, I think. I gotta kind of unbury it, but I think he's gonna get it out, and he's actually gonna just wash it, and bring it back in here, just kind of rotate the tires, and really should jack it up and get the weight off those tires since they're brand new. And the power wagon is she's dead. Motor is I believe bad, and well, I shouldn't say the motor's bad. Motor still works, but the freeze plugs on the back of the cylinder heads are bad. So a couple of years ago, you saw a video of it starting up, and it was having a hard time running. Well, that was the carburetor, but then we had it running outside, just letting it warm up and just kind of getting the fluids moving in it, and it started puking antifreeze out of the back of the cylinder heads. So we rolled it back in here, drove it back in here, and put it on skates, and that's kind of where it's been. So I'm actually going to do an engine transplant on this, and I've been really contemplating about doing a entire frame swap on it. I've got a 2002 Ram with the 5.7 Hemi in it, sitting out back, that would be a decent donor for it, but I don't really know what way I'm going to go with this. So this project's kind of on hold. I was considering selling it this year too, but I really don't know. I like the truck. It's just I don't know if I want it as tall as it is, and it's just not practical the way it is. So the reason why I'm really making this video is because of this girl. This is my 1974, it says Dodge right there. It's actually a ramcharger / Plymouth trailduster. This is the second one that I've had. Both of them were 1974 early production with, it's kind of hard to see it back there. Let me see if I can zoom in. See that little slice there in the top roof? And that little slice down there at the bottom? This is early production half door. June 10th, 1974 was the last date that they produced the half door. Fun fact, June 10th is my birthday. I was negative 4 years old at that time, but still I think it's pretty cool that there's another June 10th relationship in my life. But let me get back to this. So this is a 1974 Ramcharger. I had a 1974 Plymouth trailduster that I originally started restoring, and I bought that out of New York City just after 9/11. Took a big road trip. Me, my wife, and my best friend took my father-in-law's van down there, and yeah, took his van down there, excuse me, 1-ton Chevy work van with a rented trailer, and we went over the Throg's Neck, which we weren't supposed to. We went down some parkway that we weren't supposed to with with a commercial vehicle and trailer, and it was a fun adventure. I got super sick on the adventure, so I actually ended up, my wife and my best friend had to drive most of it, and I sat in the back, not feeling so good. But needless to say, so that was the first one. It turned out to be pretty rough for New York City. It was sitting in the parking lot, and fun fact was that truck was actually owned by a technology teacher in New York City. And what was funny is, well, I'm a technology teacher also, is the district that he worked for was actually one of the districts that contacted me when I was looking for employment way back then. So kind of a neat little tie-in. But that truck, the motor was bad in it. The timing chain, it had the nylon gears to make it silent, but the nylon gears ended up failing, and so I put a timing set in it. Actually, I still have the motor. It's sitting behind here. It was a 362 barrel. I converted it into a 360 factory manifold 4-barrel. All right, sorry, I had to take a phone call here. So where was I? Oh, rambling, I think is what I was doing. But yeah, so the original 74 trailduster, after I got it running, it turned out, it kind of sat in the garage for a while at my old house, and it was just turning out to be like there was more rust in weird spots that I just really couldn't deal with. And then the doors had some issues to them. And then what really killed the project was the roof panels. Right, the whole upper door half was rotted in just weird spots, and at the time it was just above my abilities and above my wants and desires to work on it. So then this truck actually kind of, weirdly enough, I stumbled on it. I found it on a ramcharger forum, and it was down in Austin, Texas. It had spent its entire life in the desert. So the rust that it has, it's what they considered rust is not rust at all. It's just dirt. The only thing that was actually rusted on it, if you can see here, right from this panel over, and it's kind of hard to see it. Let me see if I can get the camera in there a little bit better for you. That spot was rusted out for, I don't know why, but it just was. So I actually had a 93 radiator support, and I ended up cutting and sectioning it into here. So you can see that they changed it a little bit. Almost 20 years later, put a couple weep holes in it. But other than that, it really never changed. Dimensionally, it was pretty much identical. And so, yeah. So that was really the only rot in it. But what ended up happening was this truck was bought by a gentleman who needed the front and rear axle, the engine, the transmission and transfer case, and he needed the floor for a Dodge pickup truck that he was fixing up. So he actually went through and he did an absolutely amazing job drilling all the spot welds and everything out of the floor, and took that, and then he had the carcass of the truck up for sale. And if I was a week or 2 weeks sooner and I was paying attention on eBay, now eBay is where I bought the trailduster. If I would have been paying attention on eBay at the time, I could have actually ended up buying the truck whole. And you know, it is what it is. But when I got rid of the trailduster, my original one, I cut out the floors, and knowing that this truck needed floors, I had already welded new floor pans in on that truck, and so I ended up cutting all that stuff out, you know, way big. And then I guess maybe during COVID, Me and my son, we actually went through. I taught him how to do welding, and we actually spot welded in the floors and MIG welded and button welded and the floors into this. Now, at the same time, remember I told you about that 93 core support right there. Oh, that was out of a 15. Was that out of a 1500? I think it was out of a, or no, I guess it would be a W150 that I parted out. And also at the same time, I kind of kick myself to this day, but these axles are out of a 93 W350 single axle Cummins. I bought a white Dodge Ram Cummins off of one of my students. It was a county truck, and the transmission was a 727 heavy duty, grenaded itself. When it grenaded itself, the truck went up for auction or whatever, and his dad ended up buying it. They lost the title and paperwork for it, so really the truck was just sitting there. They couldn't do anything with it. Cummins diesels at the time, they were desirable, but they had nowhere near the crazy desire that they have now. The truck had 400,000 miles on it, and it was a really, really good running motor. It had a weird issue that you had to have one wire connected up on the firewall in order for the truck to run. Thinking back, it must have been a ground that was bad or something. But man, that truck would just fire right off, and it had no exhaust on it, and it was quiet. I really do kick myself for getting rid of that motor, but at the time I couldn't find anybody that had a 727 heavy duty because the actual case on it was bad. It was very hard to find a 5-speed manual for it, and I just, I was young. I really didn't know a lot about swapping the bell housings and whatever. So I put it up online for sale, and I sold it within 30 minutes of posting it. A diesel, Cummins diesel guy that was about 30 minutes from my house came by and picked it up with his lifted second gen truck. And at that time, I really do think I probably gave that motor away. But I was initially planning on putting it into this truck. Again, I do kick myself for not keeping it, but sometimes you need money, and sometimes that just makes more sense. But axle is a Dana 60 heavy duty with the no center disconnect, and then back there is a Dana 70. While we're looking at the frame, when I went down to Texas, me and my buddy flew down to Texas to pick this up, and the original frame, when we got the truck, it's starting to rain, lovely. When we got the truck, it wouldn't fit in the back of the U-Haul riding truck that we had rented, because remember, this was just a shell. There was no axles. The frame was still there. The front, all the fenders and everything like that, all the sheet metal was all in the back. Actually, come to think of it, this fender didn't come with the truck. This is a fender I had here. He needed the fender, so fender, and I think the grill. Yeah, I think he parted out some pieces off this truck, but we ended up having to. The guy that we bought this from down in Texas, turns out he was native to Buffalo, which we are, and he was down there, and he did all the set designs for anything military. If you needed a a deuce and a half military truck, he was the guy to talk to. If you needed a tank, he was the guy to talk to. And so he actually ended up having a big forklift. He ended up forklifting it into the back of this rider truck, and the damn thing was too long for the rider truck, and we ended up having to torch the frame right at basically the firewall, and kind of kicks my butt to this day that I did that. But I should have just loaded in there with the frame rail sticking out, and then just drove it and said whatever. But at the time, I'm pretty sure that was not really a legal thing to do, but I don't really know, because there was no engine, no driveline in it or anything like that. So we were probably legal, but we probably should have rented a bigger rider truck. So we ended up cutting the frame, drove it all the way back, 24 hours straight. We were hallucinating. We were so tired by the time we got back to New York. And when I was parting out the other truck, I ended up keeping the frame off of that. My wife's father owned a powder coat company that they could actually powder coat the entire frame. So they sandblasted it and powder coated it a hammer tone silver. It's a beautiful looking color, but it's covered in dust now. So I've done all that to it, and the truck has moved around a little bit, and it's just sat here. The whole front end's not even really bolted on there really that good. It's just kind of there. But I actually ended up, because I was missing a lot of the bolts for this, that 93 white diesel that I parted out, I kept almost all the bolts for it. So in boxes up here, I've got all the parts for this here, and I've got a couple other places that are scattered around. I got headers up there that originally came with the 360 two-barrel that is from the trail duster. But actually way up top, I can't see them, but above the garage door there's actually seats that I had reupholstered. One of my students, her mom's, was an upholsterer, and she did an absolutely killer job of reupholstering the original interior on it. And my mother-in-law owned an embroidery business, so she embroidered in the headliner or the headrest of both of them, or I guess, well, technically they don't have headrests, but they're all one-piece seats. But where your head would go, she embroidered, I think, trail duster into it, and then the back seat's got the Mopar symbol in it. My only caveat to that is I don't know if I'm going to make this a trail duster or if I'm going to make this a ramcharger. I kept the VIN tag off of the trail duster when I parted it out, and I have a title for that, and I also have a title for this here as a ramcharger. I think it's a little bit more true to the name to go with the ramcharger, but rarity wise, it'd be kind of neat to go with the Plymouth trail duster. So, oh, you know what? No, come and think of it. No, yeah, you're right. I'm right. He did take the grill off of it, because I have the original Plymouth grill up. Don't mind my mess. Up here somewhere. You can't really see it. Let me close this garage door and I'll show you. But I do have Nala. You always stand in the garage door, either in or out. In or out, girl. You gonna stay in? Nope. You always do that to me. Stay. Stay. Turn the lights on in here. Stay. So above here, you can see I've got the original 1974 Plymouth Trail Duster grill that the original person cut out both sides of the Plymouth and put in fog lights in there. And I happened to find in the junkyard, one of my friends owns basically a Mopar junkyard up here, and he had the identical grill that I needed, just doesn't have Plymouth in it. And so I snagged that up, and I've kept a hold of that. It does have a little dent in the corner of it, but overall it is absolutely in stunning shape for what it is and what I need it for. So this is kind of where everything is. It's kind of long-winded, but life gets in the way. My son's really big into baseball now, and he's really good at it. He's so good, in fact, that he was getting called up. He's 10 years old now. He was getting called up to the 12U. So he's in a 10U, 10 years and younger baseball team. And he got called up to the 12U baseball several times this year. And he pitches, and he's got a pretty fast pitch on him for 10 years old. He was clocked at 60, I think it was 60 or 70 miles an hour at the Buffalo Bisons when they had a clinic there. So he's got a pretty damn fast arm on him. And then this year he tried out for the 12U baseball team, and he made it. He made it as one of their pitchers. So so this is kind of, the garage has been kind of converted into his batting area. You can still see some of my shit laying around here. My wife's going to kill me because that's her side-by-sides plow unit that's been sitting there for a year now. Sitting in the exact spot that I set it. And yeah, I've got to work on that for her. But as you can see, like I said, the Jeep is completely buried in here. It's just stuck. There's just junk, and I'm ashamed that I have it all like this, but it is what it is. So getting back to, let me see if I can see it, the motor back here. So here's the 360 motor. I'm not going to put it back in the truck. You can see we have literally taken anything that remotely resembles something that is for the trailduster, and we have thrown it into the back of it. The trailduster actually sits on a 4-inch lift right now, and it's hard to tell, and it's very deceiving because you've got the mini monster truck that has a 12 to 14-inch lift kit on it. And so it's very deceiving, but yeah, so pretty much anything and everything that deals with this ramcharger or trailduster, whatever we want to call it, is in the back of it. So kind of a mix match of a whole bunch of stuff, but I've actually got upgraded glass for the back of it. So these are clear glass. They're kind of hard to see because they're so dusty. But I've actually got I think it was the Prospector trim level on a 70, 79 or an 80, where it had the mirror tinted glass. So I've actually got those for this. I've got the mirror tinted rear glass for that, and then got some other stuff, but you can see, I think you can kind of see the seats, and they've got the center console. I actually had that center console that's right there, that tan one that's kind of poking out. That's actually from an 80 up ramcharger, but I do have the original fiberglass, real heavy duty one. In a green somewhere up there, but it's got a bad armrest to it. So I got the 80s one to try to, I guess, mirror or mimic kind of the idea of it. So, so the reason why I'm kind of rambling about this is because this is going to be my next project. this is going to be my winter project for this year. I've kind of gotten out of working on stuff. I've just been burned out. I really was burned out. I ended up switching school districts last year, and absolutely hated the district that I went to. That's sad because I did my student teaching there. I had great memories of the district, and it was just not a fit for me at all. So I called my district that I left, and they said, absolutely, we would love to have you back. And so I'm super grateful that they've allowed me to come back to them. And so I'm in a lot more of a positive mindset, and I'm looking forward to actually getting onto this project. I'm not getting any younger, unfortunately. And none of us are getting any younger, and I don't want to see this project sit around and not get it done. I want to enjoy this truck. So so this is gonna be my winter project. The body, it's really straight. I think there's a little bit of a dent or a dinkle on the driver's side, but other than that, it's in really good shape. So this is going to be my winter project. Like I said, I'm going to get it out of here, and we're actually going to take it over to my woodworking and metal side of the shop. I'm kind of rearranging stuff right there when I get a little bit of time cleaning up and organizing to do that. So I feel that I'll have a lot more time this year. My daughter's not doing sports this fall, and my son just has soccer for a little while, and then recreational soccer. So I think that I'll have a lot more time. My daughter is she's 15 now, crazy, or she will be 15 in October. And she is taking a mechanics class at school this year. So she understands a little bit more about auto mechanics and how cars work. So she can do oil changes and stuff like that. And the teacher that teaches it, he's a real good guy. He does motorcycles with the kids. He actually wins championships at it's like a Barrett Jackson for motorcycles. All the kids build these motorcycles that are at their high school, and so he's going to be her teacher, and I know of him, or I shouldn't say I know of him, but I know him. We talk, I'm not gonna say often, but maybe once a year or so. I see him at one of the technology events, or at the school events or whatever, and he always says hi to me by my first name. So I have a lot of respect for the gentleman. We had a couple classes together in college, and he's a couple of years older than me, but super cool guy, super positive, and he always says hi to my daughter. So he like I said, he's gonna be a good influence on her, and so I think it'll be good for her. And then she's expressed interest in wanting to help me with putting this back together and sanding it and painting it and everything like that. So I'll take advantage of the help while I can, and she still wants to hang out with her dad, so I'll take that for a win. But the idea behind how this truck is going to be, driveline, has changed, and it really has gone through a lot of ideas in my head. So let me go over to the other side, and I'll kind of show you what my ideas were and where they're going. All right, so this is where my ideas were. This is a 360 Magnum out of a 2001 Ram, I believe. 2002, 2001. 2001 was the last year of the body style, of the second gen body style, I believe. So I've got this. I didn't like the transfer case because it was a driver side drop. I need a passenger side drop. So I ended up machining up this adapter and making it so that this transfer case is out of an 80s ramcharger without the vacuum assist. So yeah, so that's, I can't remember what transfer case that is. It's a 208. So it's a New Process 208. And then I have a 205, like big old cast iron ones for that. So that was my original motor that I was going to pluck into the trailduster. It's a direct drop in. The Magnum motor, or the Magnum blocks and the LA blocks are pretty much identical. They still have the earlets right here for the old LA style motor mounts. The headers that are off of an LA will actually bolt on to a Magnum motor. The only thing that happened to this motor was snow got into it. So water got into it. So I don't know how good the motor is. It was a really strong running motor when I took it out, but the oil pan's got a hole in it. So I got a new oil pan for it, but I don't know if this is the motor that I want to use. So yeah. So this video is way long. I've rambled a lot, and I don't even know if I'll post it, but YouTube wants me to post something, so I'm going to post something. But yeah, I want to create another video that's going to go into what my plans are for the ramcharger next. So until that video, which might be just a couple seconds for you guys, we'll talk to you later. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. And sorry for the long-winded blah, blah, blah.